Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're doing well. In this briefest of episodes of Metaphysical Moments, I'm going to share with you an instant activation for times when you are emotionally overwhelmed. This activation is based on the biblical edict found in the book of Matthew, I believe, chapter 6, verse 21 or 22. I believe it's Matthew chapter 6, verse 22. The verse says that the light of the body is the eye, and if the eye is single, then the body is full of light. So just to break that down, the light being the government of your body is your eye, your self-concept. If your eye is single, meaning the concept or the outlook of your humanity aligns with the outlook of your divinity. So if it's single, if you have one way of thinking, one way of looking at a situation, then the body will be full of light. That means that your world, your universe, will be full of light. Now, light is given its own context by you. Remember, light is simply the end of darkness. So whereas darkness will be loss, grief, confusion, all of those things, the light removes those things. So you give the word light that context. Okay, so so the government of your body is your self-concept. If your self-concept on the human side aligns with the divinity, with your divinity, which means if your eye is single, your outlook is single, then your body will be full of truth, love, clarity, whatever you need light to be. Okay, so what very often happens when we find ourselves overwhelmed is a misalignment of those two outlooks. That's to say, the divinity which sees only truth, and then the humanity which judges by appearances. And we know that all judgment is a lie. Very often what happens when we lead with our humanity, we try to process something that's happening to us. It's easy to become overwhelmed because the emotional language becomes a jumble. You can experience surges of emotion, and it's really difficult in those situations to isolate a particular emotion and therefore to isolate a particular outcome for yourself. So whenever that happens, the best thing for you to do is to send up what I like to refer to as a spiritual flare. This is your humanity sending up a flare, a beacon of light, calling for help from your divinity. The first thing that you can do in your humanity is, without making any audible sound, shout as loud as you can. So you're using your subjective voice and you're going to shout the word stop. That should help you to break state. And those of you who practice NLP and those sorts of meditations and so on and processes will be familiar with that term, breaking state. So you shout stop if you need to. If you feel that you can't quite control what's happening, you're in the midst of this maelstrom of emotion, shout the word stop. You don't have to do anything special for this, by the way. You can literally be caught up in the middle of something. You're just trying to regain your composure. And then you're going to release that spiritual flare. The incantation is unum, oculum, absoluta, virtute, ego sum. That's unum, oculum, absoluta, virtute, ego sum. And that's for those of you who'd like to incant in Latin. You don't have to use the Latin. The English incantation is I am. My vision is single. I have absolute power. So that spiritual flare again is I am. My vision is single. I have absolute power. And as I say, for those of you who want to incant in Latin or Aramaic or any of the Hebraic or ancient languages, please feel free to do so. Remember, don't translate the English statements literally. If you use any of those languages, you must feel into the incantation for yourself. It will be bespoke to you. But for those of you who are new to this sort of thing, you can use the unum, oculum, absoluta, virtute, ego sum incantation if you like. Then take a deep breath, close your eyes, smile, and remember to mentally say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Then give it a moment. It might take a minute or two for you to feel composed, for you to start to see things differently. It might take a little bit longer depending on what's happening to you, how seemingly real it is, how hypnotic its effects are. So give yourself some time. If you feel perhaps after half an hour, that you don't feel any more in control than you did before, repeat that cycle again. This time, take a nice deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Say stop. Remember, you're not making any audible sound. All of this is happening mentally. Once you said stop, you then say, I am, my vision is single, I have absolute power. Or you can use the Latin incantation. And then allow your divinity to reconcile with you or to take over the situation completely and enjoy the benefits that this new clarity, this feeling of being filled with light brings to you. Thank you for listening to this episode of Metaphysical Moments. Until we are together again, stay phenomenally you. This has been an original Catherine Jegede presentation.